We are live. All right. Welcome, everybody. This is a Different Reality podcast, and I'm your host, Julia Sotis Mattis. And today I have the amazing and brilliant Dr. Andrew Gardella on the show. And our topic today is creating comfort for your body. I've been friends with Andrew for, I don't know, probably a
About as
decade.
long as we've been both doing Access, yeah. 10
Yeah,
years.
so like about a decade. And so um we've known each other a long time and have been pals for a long time. And but Andrew just moved from Ohio to Bleeberville, Texas, and has a gorgeous house there. And so I've known Andrew forever, but I've never been to his house before. And so I love going there because it's like I've always seen he has an amazing aesthetic with what he wears, but then I saw it in the form of a house, and I was like, wow, Andrew, like that's amazing. And so that's what I asked him if we could talk about today, because there's just an energy and a sense of beauty that's possible for all of us with our homes. And it's like, I want to talk about that today because I think that what we tend to do is neglect comfort with our body and think that other things are more important, like saving our money or, being right or whatever it is. And so that's what I wanted to talk about with Andrew today. So I asked him to come on and he said yes. And he came up with the title and here we are. So thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So for you, where did you kind of realize that, I don't know, that you like how to be with your body and actually like take care of it and care about it? Because that's not really a normal thing.
I think, all the things, like with anything, when we talk about body stuff, for me, it always starts with asking your body. So I think, when we're like, if we're looking at doing anything with your body, it starts with, okay, asking your body what actually its point of view is about it. Because if you don't know, your body has its own point of view. So it has an awareness of what works for it and what will contribute to it and what will create the greatest for it. And it's really easy to find out. You just ask.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what stops people? Because I would say it is easy to find, like it's easy to ask, but it's like to actually hear what the body is saying is somewhere where I think people struggle a lot because they like their mind is so strong that that's more valuable than their body's point of view. And like, how do
The mind is strong in this one.
Yes. So how do you function from your body rather than your mind?
Well, I think that's kind of like a lifelong exploration kind of thing, because for me, even, sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I like that. And then but I've learned like getting it and trying it on, or like, when it comes to clothes, like it's something that's outside of my comfort zone, but it actually works for my body. Or, even with the stuff in my house, some of the times I'm like, I'm like drawn to it, but I'm at the same time, I'm like, where it's like you have like these moments. And so I learned when I started having those, I started really asking my body, I'm like, okay, buddy, is this something that works for you? Yes, no, yes, okay. I don't really want this pocket pot. Okay, we'll try it out.
Right.
Begrudgingly.
Right. Well, that's actually a really good point because like Anthony and I, my husband, for those of you who don't know, obviously you know Andrew, but my unless you really, really are somewhere else. But my husband and I built a house 4 years ago, I think. And it's like I've never owned a house to decorate. This is the first time. And it's like I would often go for like decorating like things that I think that I like, but then it actually wouldn't work in the house. And when I saw and then I've been learning and buying things and changing things and now I'm starting to like get the energy, so things are working out a lot better. But that's what I really liked about your house was it's like it was more of the whole and like how the whole came together to create this energy that was really beautiful and amazing. And like just how that all came together. And it goes back to what you're saying about like how it's not necessarily do I like this based on my taste and my judgment.
Mhm.
It's like, will this work or will this not work?
Well, I think, like for me, when I looked at, like, well, one, I didn't really have the house and then I started decorating it. Like, all the stuff in the house is either stuff that I had from my apartment or I just slowly been accumulating and never had any place to put it because, a
Hmm.
lot of the art and the things I have were just stuff I was buying with my 10% because I was like, oh, this is good, or oh, I was interested in it or intrigued by it, or it said buy me and I was like, okay, I'll buy you, because I learned long ago when things yell at me to buy them and I don't buy them, I am upset with myself when I
Yes.
don't buy them
Yes.
afterwards. So that's like another thing when you're talking about how did you develop it. It's like, well, I made a lot of mistakes.
Yes.
It's like one of the first things. There's a photographer, Edward Weston is his name, and he's like the modern the father of modern photography. But he had a print that came up in one of the right when I was starting to buy auctions and stuff, and I think and I was just like drawn to this piece. It's like a naked woman in a doorway or something, and I just didn't know anything about Edward Weston at the time. I was just like, I love this, and it was like I think it ended up going for $6,000 or $8,000 in the auction, and I was like, like I had the money like in my 10%, but it would have been like a lot of my 10% at the time,
Yeah.
and I was just like, I was doing that thing of like, oh no, so I didn't buy it, and then afterwards, because I kept obsessing about it, I started researching more, and I was like, oh, he's this, and oh, he's that, and then I looked to see if I could find another of those photographs, and no, I couldn't find one. And lo and behold, also, like if I wanted to buy it from like a gallery or something, it's like at least $15,000 to $20,000. So not only did I miss out on a good deal as an investment, but it's like, and so like from that point, I was like, I'm never doing this again. I was like, if I hear to buy something, I'm at least going to it in an auction. I'm at least going to like attempt and put in all the money I had to get the things. So
Yeah.
after that, I was like, oh, but and so that's like part of it with my house. I just realized, okay, I'll just buy these things. I don't know where they go, and a lot of times, with my house, like it looks like everything's together, but I had all this stuff, and it's kind of like my life. It's a random collection of pieces and parts, and that are puzzle pieces, and I don't know where they fit until I put something else in place.
Yep. Um, it's a very similar, I'm sure you've learned a lot of that energy from Gary Douglas,
Hmm.
the founder of Access, and it's a similar, method, or I don't know, it's not really a method, but a similar choice to like how so Gary Douglas is the founder of Access Consciousness, and he likes to create just beautiful things, and he buys different properties and fixes them up and makes them wonderful. And like Gary has crystal glasses and gold plated silverware in his Airbnbs. That's not usual. And he's like, if somebody, I asked him about it once, and he's like, if somebody breaks a crystal glass, I'm not poor. I can afford to replace it. I want my guests to have something wonderful to drink out of. And
Hmm.
I'm like, that's incredible. It changed my reality.
Hmm.
And he bought this castle in northern Italy, and it's just an incredible castle. It's called Castillo de Castel Borgone, and with beautiful gardens and big bell tower, and it's just an incredible castle. And he created the whole thing, and he knew he needed to furnish it, and it's huge. I mean, do you know how many bedrooms are in the castle?
No, I don't
I
know.
think it's like
It's
12 or 15. So just think about the bedroom, and then everything else. And he did what Andrew is saying. He just went yes, no, yes, no. And he like filled a warehouse, or like they have this summer kitchen, which is just like another big building on property. And he filled it up with all types of antiques and chairs and beds and blah, blah, blah. And everything fit in the castle like perfectly. There were a couple of extra pieces, and that was it. And it's like, and the same with you, Andrew. It's like you just asked based on your awareness, yes, no, and it came together as this beautiful thing.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't know. It's I think especially when I was looking at like one of the things I was looking at was if it was like if it created something for my body, like a lot of the art or like the furniture or whatever. I was just always looking at stuff that was comfortable or like pleasing to my body. So a lot of the things in my house are like they're either like like there's colors, like the colors are stuff that like is like really for me gives my body a sense of peace and relaxation and is like pleasing to me, and I think that's something.
It's a really good energy to like seek out what's
Yeah.
pleasing.
Yeah, and that people don't necessarily. I don't know if you look at that. At least that's my point of view with
People
my
don't.
house. It's like that's where I look at it from. I'm like, well, if I'm going to be here, I want stuff that I really enjoy. So I just had all the different things that I enjoy, and I also like different. So it's like I know, and a lot of this like I've heard Gary talk about, so that helped me a lot too. I was like, oh yeah, I like doing that too. It's like so I sit in the different places in my house and I look at like you have different views and things. It's like it's nice to have different things or different perspectives, but
Yeah,
at least that's my point of view.
agreed. And it's also an old house, isn't it?
Yeah, I
What
think
year?
it's 1900s, early 1900s,
Yeah,
but I
yeah,
like old houses.
me too. Me too.
I
Would
don't.
love to.
You have a brand new house, Julia.
I know, I know. I was just gonna say I would like to restore, like I just love old houses and just the energy of them. And I do miss that in this new house.
Hmm.
Yeah. Cool. So the other thing is too, like with all of this, is like like Gary has talked about like different colors are healing to you and different energies are healing to your body. And can you kind of talk about the healing aspect with all of this?
Well, I think it's just looking at again what's nurturing and for your body. So like everyone has different, what we talk about is like energy to me. It's like, so each of these colors, each of all these things have a vibration and have something they can contribute to you and your body. They have an energy. So it's looking at what or becoming aware of what works for you and what is something that's pleasing for you and your body.
Right.
Um, like because I don't think it's not going to be the same for everyone else. Like
No. And it might be like that weird, it's like I would always get really frustrated because it's like I thought that you like went shopping at like big box stores. Like it was like you just went to like Dufresne or like Ashley Furniture or whatever, and I would go in there and I would just like contract, and I was like, I don't like this place. But that was like before I started to explore more of the antique world and the estate sale world and all of these wonderful, different, peculiar, unique things. And I think that it is realizing that like that sometimes for a lot of us, like that peculiar thing or that strange thing or the thing that has a different bizarre energy about it can be really nurturing to us because it's like we've set our compasses to being normal, but if we set our compasses to being as different and strange as we actually are, that is such a different world and it's so much more fun.
hmm I think, yeah, and I think that you have to look at what works for you, not necessarily um, like okay, what works for me is I like older things and I like antiques and I like this, and then I have some friends that like a lot of modern stuff, which I don't necessarily like. So I think it comes back to like clothing and style, and it's just like foods to me. All of that stuff when it has to do with your body is like a variation of it's same but different.
Yeah. Hey, can you talk more about that? That I've never heard that.
Well, if you're looking at, okay, so every like all these things have a different way of contributing to your body. So it's like when you're asking for food, it's like, okay, body, what would you like to eat, or what would you like to ingest that contributes to you or creates the greater or tastes amazing and is orgasmic for you? Well, same thing with clothes, or same things with the stuff in your house. Okay, so what things could you feel in your house that are or like amazing and orgasmic and nurturing for your body? Um,
It's a really different way of looking at it.
I
I
guess
really
so. I don't know. It's the
Yeah,
way
I
I
know
look at
to
it.
you it's
It's,
normal,
it's like,
but
um, but because everything with your body, it's looking at, okay, like having a sense of ease and a sense of relaxation and a sense of expansion. So, okay, so what foods create a sense of space for your body? What art creates a sense of space for your body? What furniture creates a sense of space for your body? What sheets create a sense of, like, what are all the different things? And just, you start playing with it and seeing.
yeah, yeah. So you're a 3-day body class facilitator, and you work with the 3-day body class facilitators as well. And
Hmm.
it's like, you know, I would just love to hear you talk a little bit about the processes in the 3-day body class and like what that is and what that creates for people's bodies.
Sure. So those you don't know, there's a class in Access called the 3-Day Body Class, and it's 3 days for your body, hence the name. Um, and we have these hands-on body processes that they're called body processes, and they're energetic processes that help assist the body in changing, unlocking its capacities, and giving access to energies that it should have and maybe it doesn't, or exponentializing them so it has more of that available. Um, and they're very easy. You just put your hands on the body and ask the energies to run, and they do. Um, and it's amazing. I was like, and it's amazing. That's all you need to know. Um, I think so much of like what we're taught about bodies and life in general is that it has to be difficult and it has to be hard. And that's not what the 3-day body class is. It's really 3 days for your body to relax and to just actually receive the energies that it could and that are available to it, and that allows it to shift and change.
Awesome. Yeah. I I have been to so many of them, and it's like each of the body processes
Hmm.
is it creates a totally different thing. It's almost like if you buy a beautiful painting or you
Hmm.
eat something that creates space for your body, it's like
Hmm.
the body processes are a whole other energy that contribute every I mean, you get like what, 60
Yeah.
processes?
Um, yeah, there's six, yeah, I think there's actually 60. Actually, I think you are actually right there, 60. I was going to be
Oh,
like
wow.
58, 60, but I'm doing that. We just had an update of things and someone gave me the number and I think it is actually 60. So good job,
Okay.
Julia.
Awesome.
Bam.
I'm
Um,
on it.
but we talk about it. We look at it. If it's like a homeopathic remedy, it's like, well, it's not actually what you're ingesting. It's the energy that's there, and it's like the same thing with the body processes. They're an energy that starts to create effect in your body and allows it to shift and change.
Yeah.
It's just not something you're putting in your mouth.
Exactly. It's a whole different way of receiving energy. Um, what are like what made you interested? I mean, you're a chiropractor as well by trade,
Hmm.
and what made you interested in all of this? It's a very unique, strange interest that I don't think a lot of Cleveland guys have.
That a Cleveland guy stuff. Um, I think. Well, I wrestled. I was like an athlete, and my main sport was wrestling. So I did that all the way through high school and college. And in doing that, you get things like I hurt my body aches, and you get aches and pains, and then just things come up with it. And so I started dealing with that with like chiropractic stuff because one of the guys that wrestled was a chiropractor and blah, blah, blah.
Oh,
And I was like, oh, this is helpful. And I started listening to what he said. And I was like, that makes sense. And then there just kept coming other things where I would have things with my body, or things wouldn't make sense to me that would come up, and so I just kept searching for stuff that made sense to me, and I guess, and then I went to chiropractic school, and I was like, okay, and I just kept exploring and looking for things, and
Where'd you go to
um,
chiropractic school? In Florida?
Palmer, yes, Palmer College, Palmer Chiropractic College, Florida campus,
Nice.
nice sunny Daytona Beach.
Yeah.
Um, and so with looking at that and just kind of exploring with my body, of like saying, okay, well, does this actually make sense to me? Because the other thing I always looked at was, okay, this might look for somebody else's body, and then I would try it and it wouldn't work for my body. So I really became aware of, okay, that might work for their body, and I can sense that and I can see that, but it does not, like, it's not something that works for me. um, and it's the same thing with kind of food. There's some people that just love certain foods, and I'm like, get that, like, I do not want to have anything to do with that. So I think all of those things, we just, like, in kind of the medical model, we're just like, okay, it's standardized and there's a prescription and you fit the same model as everyone else. But I don't really look at bodies that way, and I don't look at people that way. I don't think they fit the standardized method of reality, where it's like, okay, and that's why we go, like I said, it all starts with asking your body, okay, body, well, does this work for you, or can this work for you? Rather than, they said, take 3 of these, I take 3 of these.
Exactly.
And I found that works much better for my body, maybe.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I loved about Access, and I was drawn to it. It's like, because a question always empowers and an answer disempowers. And so when you're willing to ask a question, you can gain awareness around whatever it is you're asking for. And,
Yeah.
with bodies, you can just ask, okay, body, well, what works here? And can you show me what works here? Because I'm really stupid and I'm not probably going to listen to you. So can you figure a way to go around me anyways?
Totally. And like, you have to really like you have to learn to listen to the subtleties of energy to listen to your body.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least that's what I would say. And like, how did you, I mean, for you, it always obvious to you to listen to the subtleties of energy?
Well, I don't think it's, we say it's subtle because we don't listen.
True.
But it's not
Well,
actually
that's such
subtle.
a good point. Because we're so dumb to it, but it shouldn't
You're
be
like,
subtle.
your body could be screaming at you, and you're like, oh, it's so subtle, it's so faint, I can't hear the whisper. And it's like, it's like bang banging on the, knocking on the door, and you're not like, oh, it's so subtle, how did I miss it? It's not. But what I realized is, it's not really subtle, it's just you don't want to hear it, or you don't want to listen, or you want to avoid it, which is all fine. I've done that too, it's fun. So I think you just have to start and develop, like, things show up, and then you learn from that and you build on that. I don't think, because like you said, it could be considered subtle, but what I've realized is it's not really subtle, it's just me not listening. It's pretty obvious. I'm like, okay. And
That's brilliant.
and the thing is, like, I found it always doesn't make sense. It's like a puzzle piece, like I was talking about. Like, I don't know exactly how things fit with my body, or how they like it comes together a lot of times. Like, the amount of times I'm asking my body about things, and I'm like, okay, that doesn't make logical sense, but I'm getting to take this flight, because my body says so. Okay, I'll take that. And it turns out, because of the weather or something else, that's the flight that doesn't get canceled, or that's the flight that works out the best. So, and I think, it's not just with your body, it could be extended to everything in life. But sometimes you just have to take the first step before you get the rest. As we say, choice creates awareness. Awareness does not create choice. So a lot of times you're not going to get the awareness of what the choice creates until after you choose it.
Totally. That's
So it's like with bodies, there's so many times people are like, well, like, they want to, like it's like, and I've been capable. Not capable. I'm trying to. I don't even know the word. I lost the word. I've been something of this. where I'm like, I'm guilty of it. There we go. I was like criminal. I was like, I'm not criminal of it. I'm guilty of it. Where it's like, like you want to plan things out to change your body, right? So you want to have your like, I want to lose weight. So I'm going to plan out like this, however many months diet or whatever. And I've tried to do that and I always fail now. I can't do it. But if I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to start and I'm just going to like, okay, I'm going to do stuff to change my body and I'm going to ask it each day. I'm like, okay, so what can we do today to create this change?
Brilliant.
But so often we want to go just step, like we want to have it all, the step-by-step method planned out. When, you
And then
don't,
we
you might
usually
know
fight.
yeah, it's like you might know the first two steps, but you don't really know the steps after that.
No.
Especially when like with all this facilitating consciousness stuff, you come to a point of view and then you make sure to screw yourself. You've created the anvil that is going to drop on your head at some point later.
Exactly.
So it's like when you ask a question, you're like, oh, so
Yeah.
I've learned.
Yeah. And it's like, for me, if I've set out a whole plan that I have to do with no choice, there ain't no way I'm going to do it. I'm just going to fight it.
Exactly. But it's fun to spend all this time and invest all this energy to create plans that you then have to fight yourself on.
Exactly. Not the best use of energy, but definitely a
No,
use
it's
of energy.
so much fun.
Yeah. Totally. Oh
So
man.
it's like and that's where it's like, okay, so what is going to create the comfort for my body today, or what's going to work today? And then I just keep doing, I think that's something that we want to look for an answer that's going to work from now and forever. And I don't, and especially with my body, it doesn't seem to work. I mean, there might be things that work for months at a time or so, but there's nothing that I found that is just like, it's like bodies change and you change. And so when the energy changes, you just get to you have to change with it. You don't get to have, fixed points of view. And I think that's
Exactly.
one of the things we talk about in Access that Gary recommends doing every day is destroying and uncreating yourself every day. So it's, and it's a very simple tool. You just say everything I was yesterday, destroy and uncreate it all, and Bach and Pod.
Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pop, shorts,
Yeah.
boys, and beyonds.
Or you can use the full clearing statement like Julie did. But, the other thing you could do is everything your body was yesterday, destroy and uncreate all of that.
Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pod, shorts, boys, and beyonds.
Because we look at creating our body from past reference points rather than today. So.
Yep, totally. Well, thank you for coming on today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
I love chatting with you. And do you have any telecalls that people online can?
Yes, I have. Crap. What's the name of it? I have a telecall.
Significant one?
It's a very significant one. It's how to get the significance you really desire, I think is the name of the telecall.
Yeah.
And it's coming up at the end of the month. It's not on my website yet. It should be up on my website in a day or two. So if you're watching on March 2nd, it's not going to be there, but March 3rd or 4th, it will probably be there. It's to register.
Oh, wow. There was all these comments and I didn't even see them.
Oh, I didn't see them either because I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah,
I had the private chat thinking, well, why isn't there any comments? I'm sorry, everyone, for ignoring you.
Yeah.
Hello.
Thank you both for everything. Jefferson is saying, thank you both for everything you're creating. I've used many tools from Julia's videos and from Access podcast with Andrew. Looking forward to have a class with each or either or both of you.
Oh,
awesome.
There we go.
That's awesome. And Krista says, same, but different. I love that you said that. It takes me back to my twin sister and I being in Cambodia. And that's what they would say to us as they would giggle. And I remember that being so expansive in my world. It's such an awesome saying and such an awesome invitation. don't know what the saying was because this comment is out of context because we didn't get it on time.
It
But
was recent though, because look at the timestamp is
oh yeah,
28 minutes.
I wonder
So,
what the saying was.
I don't. We're 2 minutes past it, so we don't know.
Dang it.
But anyways, my
Awesome.
website is andrewgardella.com.
I'll put it in the comments here.
Boom. And the other thing I have coming up is I have a body class in Maryland, and April 2nd, I think it starts.
Awesome.
So,
That's great.
and I'll have more stuff sometime when I get motivated and post things.
Andrew's been talking to classes. He's like, I've been reading a lot of books lately.
I've been doing COVID
Yeah.
very lackadaisically. Everyone else is freaking out. Although I'm getting stir crazy now, so
Yeah.
maybe I'll get out there, adventure into the world.
Totally. Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on, and thank you everybody listening now in the future. And what comfort can you create for and with your body?
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Andrew.